Hello, my curious learners. I welcome you all on English with Chahar sir. Once again, I'm here with you with a comprehensive series decoding the literary terms and figures of speech. Friends, we have already dealt with some important and popular literary terms, and today I have come up with another important literary term, and that is called soliloquy. Before I start, please subscribe, like, and share as much as you can to spread the light of learning, the light of knowledge. So, without wasting any time, let's move to today's literary term, and that term is soliloquy. So, friends, now this is before you soliloquy. And this soliloquy is again a literary term, and this is specifically related to drama. Okay, drama. In a last video, I told you about dramatic monologue, and today I am discussing soliloquy. And soliloquy is an integral part of drama. It has been used in drama, but we have some more terms which are very akin or similar to soliloquy. Like we have, let me tell you, one term we have like aside. Okay, you must have heard it, aside. Or we have another term that is interior monologue. Interior monologue. So these are another terms which have similarity, and they also look like to be soliloquy. So sometimes they are very confusing on our part, but here I will try my level best to clear all the potential confusions, and so that you will be clear with these three terms, that is soliloquy, aside, and interior monologue. Interior monologue is a somewhat modern term. Okay, aside has always been there in the plays of William Shakespeare. Whenever you go through the text of any of the play composed by William Shakespeare, sometimes in bracket you find this word aside, but we fail to understand what does it exactly mean. So now let's begin. Today's lesson is going to be very informative. It will give you an insight into drama and into the constituent parts of drama. So, soliloquy is a literary device most often found in dramas in which a character, okay, so this is the concept, a character speaks to himself or herself, relating his or her innermost thoughts and feelings as if thinking aloud. That is the main concept of soliloquy. If we look At the etymological structure of this word, then it comes from Latin soliloquium, and soliloquium means in English talking to oneself. So, if other characters are present and the plays typically, though not always, staged to indicate that these characters cannot hear the soliloquy being spoken. Okay, so this happens during the play, during the drama, at the time when the play is being staged. Soliloquies allow audience to know what a character is thinking or feeling. A soliloquy is often creates dramatic irony. Irony, we will discuss it later. Whatever is spoken, the opposite meaning is received by the audience, or some other implications are also there. We will discuss in a separate video that I will frame or I will make on irony. So irony is created with the help of soliloquy. Audience is made aware of thoughts and events that the other characters in the play are not. This is the irony. Now, how is that? Let me tell you. One is the character, okay, character. Then we have his thoughts, and there we have audience. Okay, audience. Now, here we have some other characters as well, other characters in the drama or play. Okay. Now, these thoughts which are being expressed by this character directly reach to the audience, but at the same time, the fellow characters of the play are completely unaware. So when the events take place in the drama, the audience is always well versed what is going to happen, but they are ignorant, and this system creates what? Irony. This system creates irony. So we can say that soliloquy is always helpful in the creation of ironic situation during the performance of a play or drama. Soliloquies were once very common in dramas. They appear frequently in Shakespeare. Shakespeare, we can say, the king of soliloquies. Okay, as plays shifted towards realism in the 18th century, soliloquies became less frequent. So that is diminishing. Actually, during we can say Elizabethan age. Okay, Elizabethan age, also known as Shakespearean age, was there was an abundance of soliloquies. Okay, abundance. But as we go to the neoclassical period, that is 18th century, where we are heading to realism. Okay, and the people associated with this realism thought that soliloquy is all illogical. Illogical. So they actually discarded it and they didn't use this term in their plays or in their writings during the late 18th century. So this way, the origin of soliloquy and the meaning of soliloquy, I think you are clear with. Take a screenshot of this slide and then I will go to another one. Now, we have here three terms: soliloquy, monologue, and aside. Okay. Soliloquy, monologue, and aside. Monologue, that is dramatic monologue, we have already done it. Soliloquies, monologues, and asides are easy to confuse. I told you in the beginning, confusion. They all involve a solitary speaker. This is the similarity between these three terms. That single speaker. The main thing is that a single speaker, only one speaker. However, there are fundamental differences between them based on both the length of speech and who is listening. Okay, so now two difference. One is length of speech, and second is who is the listener. That is audience. Okay, who is the audience? Like a soliloquy, a monologue is a speech delivered by a single speaker. The difference between the two types of speech is its audience. In soliloquy, the speaker is giving a long speech to him or herself, okay, or to the audience. That might also be a possibility. In monologue, the speaker is giving a long speech to other characters, okay. Now, see, the difference is clear. Here, either himself, so that is either the character uh, speaks to himself or audience. But here, the presence, the presence of other characters, okay, other characters is essential, is essential. So there is no presence of the other character in soliloquy, but in monologue, the other characters, fellow characters are also present. If we put it in practical terms, then other characters respond or could respond to a character's speech, or if a character is clearly addressing a specific person or people, then it cannot be a soliloquy. Okay, this should be kept in your mind. If a character is addressing a specific person or people, then it cannot be kept in the category of soliloquy. Okay, so in the case of soliloquy, the speaker must be alone, uttering long speech to himself or herself, or sometimes the audience, but unaware of the fact that audience is listening. But here in monologue, the character is aware of the presence of his fellow characters, and before them he speaks and utters his speech. So that is the basic difference between a soliloquy and a monologue. So take a screenshot, and I think that you will be clear with uh, this. Now we come with another two terms, that is soliloquy and aside. Aside resembles a soliloquy in that only the audience nor the other characters on stage can hear this. Okay. Now there is a similarity between aside and soliloquy. Why? Because in both the conditions, and what happens that only the audience, not the other characters. Okay, no, no presence, no presence of the fellow characters, fellow characters. Okay, that is the clear thing. Fellow characters. For example, if you take the very popular play by Shakespeare, Hamlet, responds to his stepfather Claudius, calling him my son. Claudius calls Hamlet my son, okay, with an aside, saying he is more related to his uncle than he would like to be. So Claudius says these words that take thy ear, thy fair hour, yet is time be thine, and thy best graces spent in with thy will. But now my cousin Hamlet and my son, and Hamlet aside, okay, aside a little. Now see, when you go through the text, you find this word like this in bracket, aside. So when aside word is written, it means the poet or the writer is using this term aside. And aside means that the speaker or the character is alone and he does not have the presence of his fellow characters. And whatever he is uttering is listened only by the audience, not by his fellow characters, a little more than kin or less than kind. So that is the speech. Hamlet is speaking his own secret thoughts to himself in a way that other characters can't hear. Okay, other characters can't hear. So let me simplify this term. Actually, what happens in aside when the conversation is going on, okay, when the conversation is going on, then what happens? One character actually changes the place, okay, changes the place to utter his or her innermost innermost thoughts or feelings, right? Are you getting it? That means changes the पोजीशन चेंजेस द प्लेस जहां पर कन्वर्सेशन चल रहा है वो कैरेक्टर वहां से थोड़ा सा अलग हटेगा एंड देन ही starts speaking or expressing his other moods, feelings and thoughts. So that is called aside. So now it's clear: soliloquy, monologue and asides. Now we move ahead. Now, another term comes that is interior monologue. Okay, soliloquy and interior monologue. Interior monologue, as I told you in the beginning, this is somewhat modern term. Modern term. Okay, modern term. That is, it was started in the modern age and like Virginia Woolf. Okay, Virginia Woolf. So such writers actually made it popular. So interior monologue is a record of, now see the concept, record of characters' inner thoughts. Okay, recording of the characters' inner thoughts. But utterance is nowhere. Like now see the difference. Utterance is nowhere. That is, the character does not speak out. The character does not express what is going inside him or her. So that is the recording of the internal thoughts, in inner thoughts. Interior monologues can resemble soliloquies in that they depict a character's innermost thoughts and feelings, but unlike a soliloquy, the interior monologue is not meant to be performed. Now see the difference between soliloquy and interior monologue. Why? Actually, why they are similar? They are similar on one point, and the point is uh, inner thoughts. Okay, we find inner thoughts both in soliloquy and monologue. But the difference is in soliloquy, the thoughts are meant to be performed and uttered, but in interior monologue, the thoughts are not meant to be performed or uttered. Put more bluntly, clearly, if we say it more clearly, even though a soliloquy reveals a character's thought, it is a speech act, okay? A speech act, that is spoken. A soliloquy must be spoken in order to be soliloquy, while an inner monologue or interior monologue, by definition, will never be spoken. Now, the thing is clear: soliloquy is always spoken, it is a speech act, but interior monologue is never spoken, it is just a record of characters' thoughts, okay, and feelings. Now, there is a one term we say that soliloquy and breaking the fourth wall. Now, let me clear this concept of fourth wall. Okay, friends, if you have seen theater, okay, theater like this, theater, the three sides, one, two, and three, covered, okay, but this side is open. This side is open. So that means these are the three walls, but one wall is open. That is called breaking the fourth wall. Sorry, okay. That is whatever. This is the stage actually. Okay, this is the stage, and whatever utterance takes place here, whatever expression takes place here, that directly goes out of this, okay, place to the audience. So that is called breaking the fourth wall. It's a very good term. So breaking the fourth wall. The fourth wall refers to the idea that there is an invisible wall between the stage and the audience in addition to the other three walls that surround the stage. I have already told you this is a kind of invisible wall. Of course, the actors can see the audience out there watching them, but the actors typically act as though they can't see the audience, okay, and as if they actually can't see through the fourth wall. So that is the actors just pose actually, they just pose as if they are not seeing the audience, but in reality, the audience and actors are face to face. Why? Because there is practically no wall, it is only an imaginary wall. But this, because of this situation or condition, this term is created that soliloquies always break the fourth wall. I think it's clear, very interesting. So take the screenshot. Now go ahead. Soliloquy does not always break the fourth wall, but it can if the character speaking is not just thinking to him or herself, but is instead addressing the audience. For example, now some examples are also there, like Hamlet. Hamlet is very popular for its soliloquies. Do not break the fourth wall. Hamlet is thinking feverishly to himself, and the audience is just overhearing his thoughts. I would soliloquies in Othello. Okay, now you're observing these most of the plays by Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. So I told you in the beginning that Shakespeare is the king of soliloquies. So Othello do break the fourth wall. In fact, many critics describe Ivo as a kind of director of the events of Othello who regularly or gleefully, very happily explains to the audience how he is going to manipulate and destroy Othello. If you have actually studied Othello, then you can easily find that Iago is a villain actually. Iago is a villain and Iago manipulates the events and incidents, and the purpose behind this manipulation is the destruction of Othello. Okay, so soliloquies, beautiful soliloquies are there. Shakespeare's soliloquies are often praised as the most powerful parts of his play. Through soliloquy, he is able to show uh, complicated characters who experience inner turmoil, inner disturbance, and conflicting thoughts. Soliloquies are also often the most dramatic and revealing moments in the play because through them characters reveal what is actually happening or what they are actually feeling, which can sometimes conflict with the way people are behaving, and this makes for dramatic tension. Now, dramatic tension actually. Okay, so dramatic tension is also reduced by using Soliloquy. So Soliloquy is really very helpful, and perhaps just because of its value, Shakespeare preferred it and used it as much as he could in his plays. And so many plays are really known for the beauty of the soliloquies which were employed by Shakespeare, like A Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, Act Two, Scene First. You should go through these actually. I will not tell you anything. You should go through the text and you better understand. Okay, Midsummer Night's Dream. Then soliloquy, King Lear. King Lear, again by Shakespeare. King Lear. Tragedy. It's a Shakespearean tragedy. Great tragedy. Okay? Tragedy. We have four great tragedies by Shakespeare. Do you know? First tragedy is Macbeth. Okay, Macbeth. Second is Hamlet. Hamlet. Third is Othello. Othello. And fourth is King Lear. Okay, so these are the four great tragedies by William Shakespeare. So you can find the text like Macbeth. You can go to Act Second and Scene First, and you can find that how does soliloquy really help Shakespeare uh, to present his characters before the audience. And some modern examples are also there, like Shakespeare. We are just saying that only Shakespeare excelled in the use of soliloquy, and 18th century, I have already told you, fell out of favor. That is no use of soliloquy because people wanted more realistic plays, and writers thought soliloquy sounded artificial. Okay, I told you in the beginning. But if we look at the modern literature or modern drama, then we find The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. Here there is a character Tom, okay, and he utters this soliloquy, and you can just go through and read the text, and you can find. Okay, and then you can go to Eugene O'Neill, The Strange Interlude. That is the play by Eugene O'Neill. Okay, and his play also has a long soliloquy, and the soliloquy word is spoken by a character who is a writer, and the name of the character is Charles Marsden. Okay, they are very important facts actually, not in a TGT or PGT, but those who are preparing for a NET exam actually. So, if you have these facts in your mind, then they are going to be very helpful for you. Okay, because such kind of questions are asked in the question paper. That he can ask that these are the lines and this is a soliloquy and who made this soliloquy, then you should have this in your memory, Charles Marsden. So the question paper of NAT is very deep, so you are expected to have a very vast and wide knowledge. Okay, so like this is the matter of the soliloquy. Marsden eventually reveals his ambiguous passion for Nina and his conflicted feeling about sex in general. This happens gradually as the soliloquy slowly takes us through Marsden's mind. This approach makes the reader feel as if they are in on a secret about Marsden. So, in this way, unconsciously actually, the audience get to know, okay, get to know the thoughts which are going on in the minds of the character. So in this way, this is all about soliloquy, and I'm sure that you must have got the idea, and I have tried to touch every aspect of this term, and even given you some examples with the help of which you could or you can easily understand what is the significance and importance of soliloquy. So today I just finished my class here, and I expect that you write them down in your notebook. Let me revise once again these slides one by one so that you can get them. Take the screenshots and then write them down in your notebook, and the information I have shared is gonna be very very useful and rewarding for you and for the learners. So this is all about Soliloquy. So thank you friends, thank you learners, and keep learning, keep working hard, and you will get or achieve your targets. Once again, the same, uh, subscribe, share, and like to spread the light of the learning. Thank you.